In the new meaning of educational change, Fullan speaks of 5 types of stakeholders in the educational system that drive change: the teacher, the principal, the student, the parent and community, and finally the district administrator. The teacher is the first cog in the system that plays a leading role in educational change. Teachers must accept the change theories and be willing to implement the new strategies. Thus, educational change begins to occur. The strongest thing that needs to happen when teachers are implementing change is to be part of a professional learning community where they work with their colleagues, building capacity toward that new initiative or that new change so that it will be effective and it will reach the students at the rate it should and be full in its development. The principal aids in implementing educational change in that the principal sets direction. The principal shares his or her vision, shares goals for the group, the body, the team, and sets expectations, and the expectations must be high. The principal also aids in implementing educational change by developing his or her staff, ensuring that the teachers get the staff development that they need. Moreover, that they are afforded the opportunity to practice with each other or to find who the expert is within that group so that they can go out and further develop within their 4 walls as well. And finally, the principal has to redesign the organization. That being said, the principal is responsible for building relationships inside the school and outside the school that would help the school move forward with whatever initiative or change that's been given to them. Fullan states that the most important stakeholder in this whole process is the student. Fullan states that the student should be considered as a change agent during the change process, especially if they are to be considered part of the solution. Students need to be welcomed and embraced in a welcoming, inviting school climate. They need to arrive at a place that says we can learn. It is welcoming them in regard to their abilities, welcoming them in regard to how it looks, just inviting them as well as their parents. So we go to the parent and community component, and on page 189 within the educational change, Fullan states that the closer the parent is to the education of the child, the greater the impact on child development and educational achievement. Saying that, he gives 4 guidelines for parents to be involved in the education of their children. Fullan states that parents should press governments to create the kind of teachers they want, that they should leave nostalgia behind them. And I know that means that because we all went to school, we think we know how school functions. Not necessarily true. Things evolve and change. We need to be part of that evolution and change. Third, to ask what you can do for your school, as well as what your school can do for you. To be an active participant in your child's education, and to be an active member at school. Not just being there, but being there in regard to helping, not just run copies. If you can help the teacher with a field trip, if you can help plan the field trip, what insights can you give the teacher or the administrator to help make education better for your student as well as the others. And finally, the 4th guideline that Fullan gives parents is to put praise before blame. That is easy for all of us to blame when things don't go well, but it is most important to look for what is going well and how to help things continue to go well. The 5th component in stakeholder in this study or the book was the administrator, the district administrator. And Fullan speaks to several studies by Burke and his colleagues. And they talk about policy making support to decentralize education, a focus on local capacity building, a commitment to rigorous accountability, and stimulation of innovation. Essentially, that means not just have initiatives come top down, but to work within the schools to help those initiatives go forward. I think about our particular system. We do have learning coaches. We have coaches that also assist with the implementation of technology. And it is very important to have that person help you when you're trying to institute a new initiative, so that teachers understand how to make use of technology or make use of resources that the school system has bought, so that we are all on the same page in the using of that initiative or the using of that resource, so that one person is not using it. It's not being used well if all members of the learning community don't have access, one, and two, know how to use it. And having said that, there were two studies that I read. How is family support relative to students' GPA scores, and the parental policy maker misunderstandings. And it was very apparent in both of those readings that the parent community component drove what was being deemed necessary to move forward. In particular, the misunderstandings piece. In order for the students to receive early childhood development, it was noted by UNICEF as well as UNESCO that if parents were involved in helping determine what's to be learned, crime is lowered and the dropout rate is also lowered. It also breaks the poverty cycle. Then when we move to how is family support related to a student's GPA scores, it was very apparent that there is some difference between the genders, male and female, in that it was perceived that females needed it more, the family support. However, they were going to go forward regardless. But having said that, speaking as a person in school now myself, it is very helpful to have my parental support and my other family support in order to keep going. And I know we have talked about self-efficacy, and that is important, but sometimes when the going gets tough, you just need that extra pat on the back to help you move forward. And your family structure or your family and community helps you keep moving toward that. So it helps you focus and realize the importance of why you are pursuing this degree.